Hi, Stefan Matulich here from Bounty Hunter Rare Wine and Provisions. Today we're not in Napa. We actually took a little road trip. We're up in San Francisco, California at a restaurant called the Fifth Floor. Joined today by a very special guest, Jim McEwan of Bruichladdich Distillery. This is your first trip to the United States in some time, as I understand, correct?
I think, Stefan, it's about 7 years since I've been here, yeah. So it's nice to be back in the sunshine of San Francisco.
Yeah, what a very rare sunshiny day it is here. So tell me a little bit about yourself. You know, before you came to Bruichladdich, you were at Bowmore, correct?
Yeah, I was with Bowmore for 38 years, 30 and a half years, and then I've been travelling around the world a lot teaching, sales teams, duty-free staff, just everybody basically. And so I was travelling out 33 weeks a year for 8 years, which comes to 5 years total out of my life.
Wow.
It was really quite ugly, you know, so I lost 5 years of my children's lives. And it was just a very difficult argument with my youngest daughter that I thought, she said, "How would you know, Dad? You're never here." So that was a defining moment for me to get off the road. So I still travel, but nothing like what I used to do. I'm concentrating on doing making the Bruichladdich and Port Charlotte and the Optimum. So it's really good to be back making whiskey, and that's what I do best.
Awesome. So on to the whiskeys now. You know, Bruichladdich certainly came on our radar with the use of the wood, the additional cask enhancement at the very end. So tell us a little bit about what started that.
Well, it's been a well-known fact that the Scotch whisky industry has been using sherry casks and port casks and Madeira casks and various, primarily sherry casks. And then Glenmorangie broke into the field. They started using some quite interesting wine casks, and I was doing some stuff like this when I was with Bowmore. We were using some wine casks as well, but it was kind of on the periphery. And so I went to Bruichladdich, and I thought, yeah, we had a problem because Bruichladdich Distillery was closed from 1994 until we reopened it in 2001. So there's this gap where there was no whiskey made. And then we had to wait another 5 years before I could get some whiskey old enough to be used, like 5 years old mixing with some older stuff. So we had a crisis really. So if you take from 1994 to 2006, it's 12 years with nothing to sell except the stock that we bought, which was pre the closure in 1994. So we had quite a good stock of that, but it was all the same. It was all American oak, and some was not particularly good. I had to recask a lot of the whiskey. So I had to become creative. And fortunately, our CEO, a gentleman called Mark Rainier, is a real wine expert. He's probably the best Burgundy expert in the UK, and he had lots and lots of connections with the major houses, the Margots, the Latours, the Lafittes, and all of them. So Mark started ringing around. He's like 4th generation wine importer, so old family ties and all that sort of stuff. So he started phoning around, and we started to accrue some brilliant casks and try them out. The results were just mind-blowingly good, you know, some wonderful surprises. And then getting to understand the rate of flavour transfer and colour transfer from the wine cask into the whiskey after it's been an American oak cask. Really, you've got to be with them all the time, because in the warm summer, we do get some warm summers in Scotland.
Yeah.
I know it's happened. We had one 10 years ago, I can still remember it. It depends on the weight house, the position in the weight house, the type of wine, the speed of transfer, colour and fruit. You never ever want the wine to dominate the whiskey. It's really just on the periphery, giving a real lovely sophistication to the spirit.
Yeah.
So that kicked us off, and we had good results on that, and we called it the ACE program, ACE, which is Additional Cask Evolution. Some people say it's finishing, but to us finishing is a negative. It's the end. This is not the end, this is a new beginning. So it was quite successful as we waited and waited and waited, you know. Next year, on the 29th of May, at 29 minutes past 7 in the morning, we actually are 10 years old. We've been waiting for so long. So in the meantime, I've been using older whiskies with amazing wine casks to pay the bills, and we've got 50 people. We're the biggest employer on the island of Ireland, in fact one of the biggest employers in any distillery in the world, because it's all traditional. So we had to pay the bills and pay the bank and everybody and rebuild the distillery. So this worked out really well. We took a lot of criticism from a lot of people, but hey, that's fine, we can deal with that. When you're dealing with like Margaux and Latour, and we did the Italian collection, we did Barolo, Barbaresco, Sassicaia, Amarone from Maraglini, we did Opitz wine, we did kosher whiskey from Israel. We took some wonderful stuff from California, from Ridge, California, Zinfandel, in a peated malt. It was like, this shouldn't work. I mean, a Zinfandel from California with an Islay malt, this should not work. Well, believe me, it's absolutely exotic. It's unbelievable. It's wicked, you know. So yeah, so we've been, next year it's like watching ET. It's like this fusion will happen next year. And then we have our own stock that we created, and we'll take off from there.
So I wanted to get a little bit to talk about the malt itself, because I think what's really special about Bruichladdich, I mean, obviously with the wine casks, they get a lot of attention. A lot of people are talking about that, but I want to know about the malt. I mean, it stands out alone because of the unpeated nature of being an Islay distillery. Tell me a little bit about the philosophy behind the malt. And, you know, now with the new release of this, the organic, I'm curious to see where it goes.
Yeah, well, our production this year, and it has been for a few years now, we're really getting into the organic. Our production is 40% organic malted barley, which comes from Inverness, in the north of Scotland. That's where they make the best organic. We cannot make organic barley in Islay because we have too much wind and too many storms. It's far, far too wild. And the organic, the stalk of the organic barley breaks, it doesn't bend. Whereas the regular barley does, it will bend with the wind. Whereas the organic will snap and fall. You don't want that. So we have to import that barley from Inverness, which is great. And it's very, very expensive. It costs twice as much to buy 1 ton of organic as it does to buy 2 tons of regular malt. So 40% is organic. And now we've got all the Islay farmers who hadn't been growing barley from our distilleries for 70 years. We've been encouraging them to come back and join us to grow barley for us, which is great. And most of the Islay farmers who do have the land to grow barley are growing for us. So 40% of our production is Islay grown barley, which is amazing. It's amazing. I didn't believe it, you know. And then 20% is just regular barley, which is good, which we use for the heavy peated Bowmore and the heavy peated Port Charlotte. So what we want, we have total traceability. We can tell you the barley that goes into each bottle, the name of the farmer's wife, the name of the farmer's dog. We can give you a GPS of where his farm is, so it's traceability. We're working closely with farmers, trying different varieties, and it's critical. I was not a huge believer in organic, because I tried organic tomatoes and I tried organic apples, and to me they were just lacking a little bit in something. So I was a bit sceptical about organic barley. But from the first day we used it, and getting it coming through the pot still, and you're standing there waiting on it, and it just burst through. And I tasted it. Absolutely sensation. The maltiness of it was just ×5. It was so malty. It was absolutely beautiful. I fell in love with it immediately, and now it's about 5 years old now. So, and it goes really well with the American bourbon casks. We've got the vanilla and the creme brulee and the toffee. It's really, really fruity. So organic is here to stay with Bruichladdich, as is the Islay malted barley. More and more farmers are joining us. So we have a huge social responsibility to the island. We employ 50 people. We're making whiskey with equipment that was there when Queen Victoria was on the throne. We're still using it. We're still making whiskey. So personally right now I'm making 12 different styles of whiskey. Because people say, you can't make 12 different styles. Well, of course you can. A distillery is just like a kitchen, right? It's full of equipment. Like a kitchen. If you're great chefs, you can produce the most amazing menu in the world, yeah? So we've just got equipment. We've got great chefs, guys who are making whiskey traditional for years and years. So I just changed the rules. I'm going to make it the most heavy peated, like Octomore. I mean, people said, you can't go higher than 50 parts per million how big. Really? Well, let's put it to place. So we work with the maltster and say to the maltster, let's dry it very, very slowly, and no heat, just smoke, and smoke it. Surprise, surprise. You send it to the government chemist and back comes, there you go, it says on it there, 142 parts per million. You know?
Wow.
And yet when you taste it, you know, it's so subtle. On the nose you don't think it's going to have that amount of peat, but when you taste it, somebody said to me, describe what it's like tasting Bowmore. I said, it's difficult to describe, but if you were sitting on Isla in front of a peat fire at home, and you just reached into the fire and you grabbed fire, eat fire. If you could eat fire, that would be it. So it's Bowmore, eat fire would be my slogan for it. Some people said we couldn't do it. We did it.
That's awesome.
People said we couldn't do quadruple distillation, distill 4 times. Did that. That was a nerve-wracking ride. You know. Everybody's done it 2 times. There's 2 or 3 distillers that have done it 3 times. So I read about it in the journal of Martin, who was a Scottish traveller and writer. In 1695, he was in Harris, and he recorded that the men there were making whiskey by distilling it 4 times. And he said, 1 spoonful you live forever, 2 spoonfuls you go blind instantly, and 3 you drop down dead. Thing. I thought, shit, I got to make this stuff. This is so good. I really got to make this. If this guy's been making it in a cave like 1615 years ago, I got to try it.
Yeah.
So we did it. Absolutely stunning, you know. So we're doing a lot of stuff, a lot of clever stuff, and quite recently I made a new gin.
Okay.
I rescued an old pot still from the scrapyard and rebuilt it and redesigned it inside. I started working with 2 botanists on the island.
Okay.
So we produced our own flavour for this island gin as well, called the Botanist. Really, really good.
And how is that going to be available on the American market?
Soon it will be. People say, why are you doing gin? Well, quite honestly, we really need the money. And it's something I always wanted to do. But gin will give us the financial wherewithal to move to the next level, because we have, you know, it's a long time waiting 10 years.
Yeah.
And we want to kick on a little bit with things we want to do at the distillery. So yeah, it's stuff like black art. I mean, who else but Bruichladdich who's got a whiskey in a bottle and not telling anyone anything about it? That really upset the Germans. The Germans said, Jim, you cannot do this. You must tell us. I'm not telling you anything. It's just, you're the experts, you tell me what you think I've done. You have used port casks and you have used this cask. Whatever you think, mate. So we're still having fun making whiskey. It's good fun.
Sounds like it, definitely. A lot of good things here going over, but and I know we're getting ready for a nice little tasting today, so we'll have to break away. But thank you again for inviting us down here. This is a good treat, and thank you guys. Look for more at www.bountyhunterwine.com.